Welcome to the Course Creators Podcast with course design expert Jenny Rice. Whether you're an experienced creator or just starting out, this podcast helps build courses that resonate, transform, and make an impact. Each episode, we'll explore strategies and tips to help you create engaging, successful courses. Let's dive in.
Hi, this is Jenny Rice from Course Creators Podcast. I'm really excited for our guest today. We got Corey Alvarez, who's an author and does many, many other things. So welcome, Corey.
Welcome. Hey, how's it going, Jenny?
Great to have you here. So tell me a little bit more about your background.
Well, Jenny, I'm an author and owner of Core ENT, creating opportunities, reaching everyone. I, it's been a passion of mine to be able to help others like myself to get their goals and dreams out there.
That's great. And you do podcasts, you do other things. Tell me more about some of the other
Yeah.
services you offer.
Well, okay, so I am an author. I'm also a podcast producer and host of Rolling with the Pastor and Technically Speaking News, giving you news that you can use. And also, I help clients publish their journals, publish books. I help them, again, it's all part of the umbrella of creating opportunities, reaching everyone.
That's great. It sounds like you have a really big skill in the holistic approach of look and feel, layout, like you do sound and music, things like that.
Correct.
So the whole gamut of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you typically work with clients that want to start a podcast and helping them with the layout, the look, or a book? Or tell me more about how you serve your clients.
Okay. So when someone comes to me and say, "I want to start a podcast," this is what I do. We set up a time to talk, and then I just get to know them, like who they are. And in my mind, I'm doing a data analysis while I'm getting all this information. So who they are, what are the things they like, what made them like want to do a podcast. Are they doing it because of the fact that they have a voice in an area they want to amplify, or they want to be able to put their opinion on things that's already being talked about. So my goal is to be able to bring their dream to life.
That's so great. So you help them put the concept together, the idea together, the formatting. Do you help them actually launch it and do the technical setup? Or is it
Yes,
more just about getting ready to do it?
we help them launch it. We figure out what platforms that they want to put it on, whether they just want to put it on YouTube or they want to put it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And then we also not only do the lives where they can go live on the platforms, but we also break it down to the point where they can be able to, after the show, we give them about 30 clips, depending on how long the video is, 30 clips of the actual podcast, and then we give them a schedule to organize it
Well, that's
and
great.
roll it
So
out.
they can really maximize the content of the podcast to other social media posts and things like that. That's great.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
because of the fact that content, we're in the era of content. Content is key. And
Yes.
you also want to make sure that your message stays the same, right? I what I tell a lot of clients that I work with that you don't want to have your audience confused, if that makes sense. Um,
Absolutely.
this is one thing it's a jewel I give everybody when I'm working with them. Law and Order, the show comes on at 9 o'clock Thursdays every night. That is their slot. They've been there for 25 years. They never went off the air for 25 years.
Wow.
So you make sure that whenever your audience is on, if your time is at 9 o'clock a.m., 10 o'clock a.m., all the way to 12, you make sure your content is always feeding them. That way, they know when they open up their phone and they're because they're following you because something you said or impacted them, they can have that same impact over and over again when they go on their phones or on their computers and laptops at that same time.
So continuity is king.
Continuity is king.
Absolutely. So tell me more how you bring music into the equation, because I know you're a talented musician and do a whole bunch of
Thank you.
music things too.
Yes, so there's programs out there where you can be able to sync your music to your content or sync it to your podcast. What we do in house, we make sure that the feel of the music that we create in house grabs the emotion of what the podcast is about. You don't want to have heavy metal when you're talking about a history and time during the show where it's very empathetic. where it's very, very soft. You want to have the right tone because the tone also displays the message better.
Yeah, absolutely. Music definitely sets the tone, sets a
It does.
mood. It really
Yeah,
communicates the message and brings emotion up too, right? So,
it does. It
yeah.
does.
So I know you publish a whole bunch of books. Tell me about some of the books you want to turn into a course now.
Okay, so I created a book called A 100 Day, A Confession and Manifestation 100-Day Journal. All right. The reason why, because in the everybody starts off at the new year, new me, new this and new that. I always encourage everybody to. It's good to have those things. A lot of people say, "Don't say it." I'm like, why? It's possible that you can say these things and they can manifest, but the key to everything is writing it down. So in the course, I help them not only just say what they want to put out there, but structure it. It's the why behind the want.
Oh, that's great. That's great to do that. So, and then you're going to take your course and you're going to teach people how to do that. And so they can have access to it on their own
On their own.
and
And then
not,
if they and then I walk them through publishing it through KDP.
oh, that's great. Good. So it's a full end-to-end solution then.
Correct.
Yeah. So to help our listeners, any challenges that you face in either putting your author together, the services you provide, so and how did you overcome them? Just so we can help our listeners learn a little bit more from that.
Sure. Wait. Okay. So let's break it down into the podcast portion, and then we can move over into the journal. Podcast information overload. A lot of challenges I get is information overload when working with clients. I'm like, you want to talk about this, and you want to talk about this, you want to talk about this. Does it fit within the weave of the actual episode? And if it doesn't, how can we incorporate it but spin it back to the main topic of the episode? Because of the fact that once we sit in the chair and now we're comfortable talking, sometimes they run over and over. So the conversation can run over and over. So what me and my team we did was we created an actual agenda. Now, agenda is a guide. It's not the rule. It's just the guide. Because when you're passionate and you have passionate individuals talking about something, you don't want to end that passion by just saying, "Okay, it's time to go ahead and move over
Hmm.
to the next topic." Sometimes you just got to let that passion roll out, and that's what brings the viewers.
That makes
Passion
perfect
brings
sense.
views.
Yeah, absolutely. And people can read that. Authenticity is so important in how you do that and excitement and passion for it. Absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
really good insight. Yeah. It's fascinating how you bring in all the different components of success from sound to visuals to content to practice application.
Yeah.
So it's like a holistic approach, right?
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you were able to see the vision.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And it makes it fun too, because then you're passionate about what you do, which turns around and reflects back into your clients, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think ultimately, from what I'm reading between the lines, is that you ultimately want to make an impact. You want to change people's lives. You want to give a message out that people can resonate with, get it, and say, wow, I adopted this into my life and it's made a difference.
Right. Because, see, influence is good, but impact is great.
Yeah.
Influence goes away, but once you get impacted, something changes. Like an in part inside of you say, you know what? I could do this thing.
Yeah.
And then I know that there's going to be challenges. And I incorporated the same method as far as the journal, the way I do the podcast. When I in the courses that I create for the journals, I make sure that it's going to be linear. You're going to get the same thing like with the confession and manifestation. It's the want behind the why. And then the steps of how to do it,
Mm.
and then sometimes we may have I call it the aha. There's a dream or a thought that came. Grab your journal and write it down. That way you'll be able to capture it
Yeah.
because those things are key. And then in the challenge we sometimes when creating a journal, you want to get so much in there, but then you don't want to information overload. I always say give yourself space for grace.
Mm.
Take a time, sit back, Rome wasn't built overnight, nor will this book be. And if it
Mm-hmm.
is, easy come, easy go.
Yeah.
So give yourself space for grace and then take your pace.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good rhyming line.
Mhm.
And I
I
also would
love
love,
music.
yeah, I love what you said too, is to explain the what and the why.
Yeah,
So, and how adults learn is they want to know the bigger concept, like why am I doing this? How is it going to change my life? How is it going to make a difference? So they're engaged and they're excited about it. Then you go into the how and the steps, right?
correct.
Yeah. And clients I work with for course creation is always start with the what and the why, and then
Mhm.
go into the how, right? Because
Exactly.
if you're missing the what and the why, then people get in the how and go, well, why am I doing this? How's it going to help me? What's the
Right,
purpose? So
right.
yeah, really important to do that. Wow, very insightful, some of the insights you've given. And again, I love that you're doing different aspects of the solution too. It's not just one, it's the passion, the music, the
Right.
visuals, everything, and the consistency,
Yeah,
right? Doing that. Okay,
exactly.
great.
My goal is to be able to have someone um pass down something that they created or pass down something that they learn so they can be inspire someone that they know.
That's great. So
Because
pass it
again,
on, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
influence, one person may be influenced by something that the other person isn't influenced by. And impact could be the same. However, impact leaves an impression.
mm-hmm. Makes a
Influence,
difference.
yeah, influence can last, but impactful, you feel it. You
Yeah.
feel it a lot more.
Yeah, I truly believe people are buying transformation, not information. There's so much information out there, but what do I do with that information? How do I change? How do it help me change my life?
Right.
Right. Awesome. Well, it's great. Thank you. Very insightful. As we end this podcast, any tips you have for other people, either offering your services or creating a course?
Give yourself space for grace.
Good.
And that's it.
That's good. Give yourself space for grace. So self-compassion and don't be so hard on yourself in the process, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I believe if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's going to show up in the output and then people are going to be more attracted to that solution too, right? So
That's right.
good insight, good tips. Thank you so much, Corey, for being on this podcast.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Take care.
Yeah. So this is Jenny Rice, the Course Creator Podcast with my very special guest today, Corey Alvarez. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Course Creators Podcast. For more insights and to connect with a community of creators, join our Course Creator channel on The Great Discovery. We offer both free and premium memberships. Check the link below. Until next time, keep creating, inspiring, and transforming lives.